This is our first try at vlogging.
Vlogging.
Right? I don't know if my husband likes to be roped into doing these kind of things.
Very out of my comfort zone.
So I had to beg, borrow, and steal. I don't know what I stole or beg or borrow.
I'd do anything for you. But yeah, it's definitely out of my comfort zone. So here we go.
So we wanted to start talking about our pregnancy journey. Because it has not been an easy one. It's been a little rocky. We'll talk about that another time. But even this pregnancy wasn't easy, right?
No, definitely. No. I think that's the thing. I think back to the first pregnancy, and obviously this is very easy for me to say because I didn't do...
Talk as loud as you can too.
I didn't do anything like what you did, obviously. I mean, not even
You were there for the
close.
Fun part, and then...
You're right, exactly. I got to just kind of watch armchair wise, but I think it's just we both say we had a pretty smooth pregnancy with Phoenix, and I think we then weren't prepared, or I will speak for myself, maybe I was ignorant to, the things that can happen, so that in this pregnancy with the somewhat ups and downs that we've had, it's been kind of scary.
So with this pregnancy, firstly, I was so sick.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
A lot of nausea.
Not even a lot of nausea. I was throwing up like sometimes 4, 5, 6 times a day. I was shooting a film. I didn't actually know if I was going to make it. Do you remember when I called you and I was like in tears and I was like, I can't do this. I was like, I can't do this film.
But I was so proud of you because it was such an inspiration to see you just
I think
on
women really have to power through sometimes, and they don't get enough praise for that because you don't see what's going on inside, what's happening to a woman. So not only was I really ill, when we were about 10 weeks, I remember being asleep and like in my dream I was like swimming and I thought, oh, this is so nice, and then I sort of woke up and I thought like something, you weren't with me because sometimes my husband doesn't sleep with me because sometimes he wakes me up at night. So he sleeps with, we call it her the baby, but our daughter. And I remember sitting there and just going like, why are my legs like wet? And I'm not trying to be too graphic. And I woke up and I turned the light on and I was covered in blood from like my torso down was just covered in blood. And I called you and I was like, there's no way there could be a baby anymore.
Yeah. I think we definitely were kind of in shock immediately. And we had, not to say too much yet, but we had been through some other things too that I think it just kind of felt like one series of challenge after another, and then this was the culmination of those challenges, and I think we were both like in complete shock.
Yeah.
But felt, we had
So
lost
what
the
did you
pregnancy.
think when I called you in?
No, I think, and I'm not just saying this trying to sound like, well, I'm super husband and dad and stuff, but but I honestly was thinking about you first and foremost. I really was. That's on a stack of Bibles. I was like, oh my gosh, are you okay? And I'm just trying to reassure it's going to be okay. And then I tend to get, we know this from some other, like when we almost were in a plane that almost went down, that's another story for another time.
Yeah, we were in like a plane that literally went down. But
Emergency
that's another vlog for you guys.
That's another story for another time.
And speak up really loud.
But I get very, that's the only time I get very logical is when there's like something extreme happening. So I just was like, okay, well, here's what we need to do. We need to make sure you're okay. We need to call the emergency number at the doctor.
So we called our doctor and they said you were probably having a miscarriage.
Yeah.
Do you remember? He said like,
you're probably losing the pregnancy.
if you're losing that much blood, you're losing the pregnancy.
Yeah.
And it was 3 a.m. in the morning, and I was just like, well, screw it, I'm going back to bed.
And by the way, we had just been in the doctor, as I remember it, like, a couple days before, and everything was fine and dandy. Like, not an issue in the world.
And so we went in, and they did the ultrasound, and the baby was kicking and, like, having a blast in there. And we can't say he or she. I almost said he or she. I was like, was in kicking around in there. And what had happened is that when you first get pregnant, the pregnancy starts in the line of your uterus, I'm pretty sure.
Something like that,
the uterine wall. Don't quote me on that, but it starts on in the side of your womb, and then at around 10 weeks it moves from that place and develops its own placenta. So what had happened to us is when the baby went from the wall to develop its own placenta, it tore the wall. So what it's called is a subchorionic hematoma.
Oh, I think or subchorionic bleed.
Subchorionic bleed.
Yeah. Again, we're not doctors, so we're just trying to recollect.
It's like a hemorrhage of some kind, which is fine, but then sometimes not fine. So the bad thing about that was that if the bleed became too big, you okay?
Yeah.
If the bleed became too big, that the baby would have been taken with it.
Yeah.
So he was like, no sex, like you would want sex anyway. No exercise, like, yep, that's on the first of my priorities. Yay, sex, fun. So no sex, no exercise, no lifting anything.
Right.
And we actually went to Hawaii, which we had already planned and booked, and he said that was fine. And I bled for 2.5 weeks straight.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, this is so unnatural to be bleeding and to be pregnant at the same time for almost half a month.
Yeah. And I think with everything, again, there are other stories for other times, but with everything that it kind of led up to all this, we were still in the sense of, first of all, that was traumatic in its own right. But then the bleeds continuing, which we said could be normal, but you still kind of always felt like, what if this isn't what's supposed to be happening?
Yeah.
So
that was our first little snafu, and we will do another vlog on our second snafu, which happened we've had 3 snafus, right?
That I can think of. We even had some small ones too, but yeah, those are probably.
We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, we've had like 5 or 6 snafus, but after the bleed, we had a few more
gut checks, like where you kind of get kind of punched in the gut, and you're
so
kind
of. This wasn't the end to our experience. So after this lovely hemorrhage for 2 weeks, we had 2 more snafus. So
can I ask a question? So
as you speak loud, because if no one can hear you, and all your beautiful words.
Sorry. Well, I just to conclude, like maybe it's a good idea to kind of share why we're sharing this or why we're talking about this.
So my husband didn't even want to do vlogging because I think it means you have to be vulnerable and also share parts of your life that maybe you don't want to share. But for me, and I could cry thinking about this, like I wish that I had a support network when I was going through this, and I spent a lot of time online Googling bleeding while pregnant. So I think that it's our duty really to share our story. And I mean, people don't have to if they're in the public eye, but I think there's a lot of people going through struggles with pregnancy, and I think it's important for them to feel like they're not alone and they're not isolated in their story.
Yeah, definitely. And I think look, I think when we share more of our stories and stuff, I think people will see kind of the overall journey. But I think it's important to at least share this because, like you said, you don't feel so alone. You know what I mean? Like it lets people understand that, we kind of thought, the first pregnancy, even though it wasn't easy, was like, oh, it's kind of perfect and
we
everything
got
would be
pregnant
perfect.
First or second try. We never had any issues. She was born 10 pounds healthy. She's been sick 4 times probably in 5 years. She's never sick. So it was a little bit of a gut punch to go through what we have been through in the last, however long I've been pregnant, and even before that. So we didn't expect it, and I think that a lot of people who go through it don't expect it.
And how's it still impacting you now? And we're still pregnant, and let me just start by saying, I have my own sort of PTSD about not feeling like we're completely out of the woods.
Yeah.
Again, we'll share what happened before we got pregnant, but I still have nightmares. I still have total PTSD, every single cramp, backache. I'm like, is something wrong? You know, even last night, I feel like I didn't feel. It's okay, I can take that out. I can beep it.
Well,
I just said the sex of the baby, but I'm gonna beep it. So
you're gonna have to put a thing over your mouth.
I was
people
gonna beep.
They'll lip read too.
Oh, they will.
Yes.
So I'll just go like that.
Yeah. Maybe tell that part again. Just that little part if you can.
What was I saying? So for 40 minutes I didn't feel the baby, and then I thought, oh my gosh, we've lost it. So
you know, I think there's a lot of still PTSD, but the baby's moving around. Should I show them my belly?
Yes. We do a lot of this.
I'm so big.
Oh my gosh, bless your
Look
heart.
how big I am.
I know.
And you look cute. I still think that, you know, men are there for the easy part.
I know. I have nothing to say. All I can do is be, you know, assist and support and.
But anyway, we
reassure.
are here for you guys. We're just a couple of normal people going through some normal stuff that isn't easy. So comment below. You know, I think in life you're either helping or you're hurting, and I think we can try to help some people through it.
Yeah, and I think the last thing I would say is like, look, every experience is its own experience, and for us, this is beautiful in some ways, but I think there's days we wake up and we're kind of like, excuse my French, we're like, oh shit, is everything okay? And, you know, nothing is perfect. There is no perfection in any of this, you know? I mean, it's hard, you know? There's a lot of emotion obviously tied up in this.
But what is our favorite quote? Everything
you want
is on the other side of fear.
So.
And with that, bye guys.
Bye. Thank you for listening.
Bye.
Bye.